Previously on Birds of the Air Travel.
Okay, we left the live aboard yesterday, which was pretty sad, but at the same time, I am ready to do something other than diving. I know, shocker. We spent the night in Khao, and Vince and I are just packing up one more time because we're gonna head out to Khao Sok National Park. We're gonna stay on a Rafthouse out there, and we've got a bunch of activities planned, so that's where we'll be for the next couple of days.
Vince and I made the 2-hour drive to Cheow Lake, where we checked in for the multi-day tour ride booked us. And while we were waiting for our boat to arrive at the pier, this dog kept begging us for belly rubs. Eventually, our longtail boat arrived to drive us out to the Praiwan Rafthouse, where we'd be spending the next couple of nights. We booked this package through Seek Sophie, and it included our accommodations, all activities, and our meals for 2.5 days. Cheow Lake covers 71 square miles of land, and just 40 years ago, this area was a completely different place because the lake is actually a massive dam reservoir that was constructed by the Thai government. But the main reason that we decided to visit this area is because I wanted to try to see elephants out in the wild while we were in Thailand. The ride out to the Rafthouse was full of stunning views of the surrounding limestone mountains, and after about an hour, we got our first glimpse of the little paradise that we'd get to stay in. The Praiwan Rafthouse is a bit rustic. The bungalows don't have AC, and there's no hot running water on site. Oh, and the electricity is only turned on at nighttime, but none of this ended up really mattering. In the daytime, it's super hot out, so not having hot water for a shower doesn't matter, and nighttime was cool, so we also didn't miss the AC. And what the Rafthouse lacked in technology, it fully made up for in gorgeous views. We made it out to our Rafthouse in Khao Sok National Park. It's really beautiful, and we're about to go on a hike. It's really hot out, so I'm assuming this is going to be a bit sweaty, but we are supposed to be able to visit a cave on this hike, and I think go bamboo rafting, so this should be fun. It was just a short ride on the longtail boat over to the trail we'd be hiking, and we did have to pay 200 baht a person to use the trail. We followed our guides along this kilometer-long path, and they pointed out interesting things along the way, like these trapdoor tarantula holes, a few different kinds of lizards, and an elephant trail. At the end of the trail, we got aboard a couple of bamboo rafts so that we could get to the other side of this tributary, and this is a traditional and old form of transport in Thailand. On the other side of the tributary, we got to visit Coral Cave, which had some really impressive stalactites and stalagmites. I also really love these sparkly formations, and our guide even showed us this caveman shadow puppet. After visiting the cave, it was time to retrace our path back to the Rafthouse, so we took the bamboo rafts back to the trail, and this time we came across a family of dusky langurs along the trail. Back at the Rafthouse, Vince and I grabbed one of the tandem kayaks and went out exploring a bit before dinner.
In heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth.
Then we took a quick swim before spending the evening talking to some new friends we'd made earlier at lunch.
It's our first morning in our Rafthouse. We just got up early because we have a scenic boat ride this morning. Don't know how much wildlife we're going to see, hopefully some. Then we have a lot of free time this afternoon and another scenic boat ride in the evening. So it should be a nice day to just relax, swim, kayak. Maybe Vince and I will go hiking again. But either way, we are going to have plenty of time to just chill, just some time to decompress before the next step of our journey, where we're heading back to Bangkok to meet up with our friends Rachel and Jared.
The longtail boat came to pick us up at sunrise, and we set off onto the lake just as the sun crested over the nearby limestone mountains. We stopped under this massive tree and ended up seeing 4 different primate species all in one location, although I wasn't able to get a clear shot of the pig-tailed macaque that we saw. I'd heard a strange animal call throughout the morning, which sounded a lot like a bunch of car alarms going off, and our guides informed us that the sounds were actually coming from a family of gibbons. Right away, we could see the gibbons swinging around from the tree branches. This was such a cool sighting, and definitely my favorite species that we saw during our stay at Praiwan Rafthouse. They were so acrobatic, and it was super fun to watch them hurling themselves through the trees. And in this one spot, we also saw more dusky langurs, a great hornbill, and a troop of long-tailed macaques. Macaques are the most widespread monkey species on Earth. We've seen them in several different countries at this point, including earlier on our trip to Thailand. After a while, we left the monkeys and took the scenic route back to the Rafthouse, where Vince and I immediately grabbed a kayak and headed back out onto the lake. We could still hear the gibbons' distinctive call echoing through the trees, so we decided to see if we could find them again. We couldn't see any gibbons, but we stopped to listen to them for a while. Then we set off to explore some more little inlets in our general vicinity.
So this right here is a spot where elephants have come down to the water. Probably a lot because they've made a whole trail here. And up in the trees, we thought there was a drone, but it's just like a ton of bees. This whole hillside, you can see where they've trampled down all the vegetation. It's hanging into the water in some places. There's elephant footprints. Too bad there's no elephants right now. There's elephant scat right there. The really wild thing is they could be close to here right now and we would never know until they decided to come out. It's crazy how well they can hide in the trees.
But even though there weren't any elephants, we did find some more dusky langurs, and this was our best view of them yet. Dusky langurs are typically only found in Malaysia and southern Thailand and Myanmar, although a few of them have popped up in Singapore in recent years. Unfortunately, these monkeys are endangered due to habitat loss, but inside of Khao Sok National Park, they seem to be thriving. After floating underneath the langurs for a while, we decided to head back to the resort and we explored a couple more inlets along the way back. By now it was almost lunchtime and it was super hot out, so we took a swim break outside of our bungalow. Then we headed to the dining room and ate lunch while a bunch of carp swam under the dock below our table. Since there were like 30 people on our hike the previous day, Vince and I decided to spend the rest of our free time revisiting the trail to see if we could find more animals if there wasn't a crowd of people. We hiked up the trail, and this time the only sounds around us were different bugs and birds chirping in the forest and the now distant call of the gibbons. And we were in luck because the troop of langurs were back, and this time we could see a mother and baby hanging out right above the trail. The monkeys even climbed right down to the trees next to the trail, giving us basically the best possible view of them. This was such a neat encounter, and I was really glad we decided to do this hike again. We also saw this huge orb weaver spider, and then we saw a motorcycle that was trampled by an elephant back when the park rangers were making the trail. After that, we kayaked back to the Rafthouse, where we watched another spider eating a bee until it was time for our evening boat ride. And while the landscape was still beautiful on this ride, we didn't see as many animals this time, although there were a couple of wild boar. Back at the Rafthouse, we watched more wild boars wallowing in a mud pit from our table in the dining room. Then after dinner, one of our guides put on an awesome fire dancing performance for our group's last night at Praiwan. Well,
It's our last morning at the Rafthouse, so we're just getting packed up and getting ready to head back to Bangkok later today. We have to drive back to Phuket first to get to the airport, so it's gonna be a long day of travel, but we are gonna get to see our friends when we get to Bangkok. We have had a really nice time here the past couple of days, and the only thing that could have been better is if we had seen elephants. You know, when you go looking for things in the wild, you take the risk that you're not going to see them. Gibbons are actually calling each other up in the trees right now. They kind of sound like car alarms. It's really funny. We could have gone to like an elephant sanctuary at some point while we were here, but we saw some of them in Phuket, and honestly they looked kind of shady. Personally, I would rather not see elephants at all than see them in conditions like that and pay to contribute to that. So it was worth a try to see wild elephants out here. Didn't pan out, but that's okay. That's the way nature is. Yeah, I guess today is our last day in Thailand for a little bit. We're headed to Myanmar tomorrow morning. I'm sure that's going to be totally different from what we've been doing, but for now, I'm glad that we had these peaceful last couple of days here before we head back to the city.
Once we were all packed up, everyone boarded the longtail boat for the last time, and we enjoyed the scenery as we made our way back to the pier. Khao Sok National Park really is paradise, and if we had unlimited time and money, I would have absolutely loved to stay here longer and explore some different areas of the park. There's a lot to do there, and we really just scratched the surface. In particular, I wish we'd had time to do a Rafflesia flower trek, because we were there at the right time of year for them to be blooming, but when I was planning our itinerary, I had to choose between trying for elephants and trying for Rafflesia flowers, and the potential elephants won. Obviously that didn't work out, but we still had a very nice time. When we arrived back at the pier, Vince and I said goodbye to our friends we'd made, and we drove all the way back to Phuket, where we tried out these full-body massage chairs at our gate in the airport.
I don't know if this feels good or bad. The leg crushing is a bit much.
We grabbed a bite to eat at the Coral Lounge before traveling back to Bangkok for the night.
Well, we just arrived in Bangkok for one night in Bangkok, and our hotel's really nice. It'd actually be nice to get to relax here a little bit, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna go out to a night market and meet up with Rachel and Jared.
We got our welcome drinks from the hotel bar and then took a grab into the city to meet up with Rachel and Jared in Chinatown. And Lunar New Year was the next day, so the streets were all decked out in lanterns and Chinatown was busy. Eventually we spotted Jared and Rachel, and they were just finishing up a food tour.
Oh my god! What are you doing in Bangkok? What?
What are the odds?
Where's...
Let's
There
see how long
she
it
is.
takes her. I didn't even tell her.
Didn't take her long.
We even got to sample some roti along with the tour. After that, we wandered around and tried some more street foods and kind of just took in the atmosphere. Eventually, we wandered over to Wat Tri Mit, where there was a dragon dance performance going on. And honestly, this kind of made my day. I remember learning about the dragon dance way back in middle school when we did a unit on each continent, and ever since then, I've hoped I would get to see a dragon dance performance someday. After the dragon dance, the lion dance was just starting, but we decided to head back to the hotel because we wanted to get a good night's sleep before our flight to Mandalay the next morning. Next time on Birds of the Air Travel.
Honey, the thorns, honey, ow.
It was way too late to stop. How bad did it get you?
Not bad.